Hey there, everybody. This is Gary from Constricted and Addicted. First of all, I want to say thank you to all my new subscribers, everybody who's posting comments or asking questions. I truly appreciate it. This is one of the greatest gifts that I have, is that I get to share my animals with you. And of course, you share your animals with me. I think that's how this thing works. Today, I wanted to give kind of an update on my Locality Boa constrictors. And today we get to start off with Artemis. Artemis is my male Argentine, and this guy right here is just truly a really beautiful and neat animal to have in my collection. I've heard a lot of different things about Argentines and their temperament. What I've heard more about that they're kind of defensive as youngsters. They're hissy. They could be kind of a handful to have when they're younger. Artemis is about 1.5 years old. He was born in I want to say June of 2020. So if he was born in June of 2020, it makes him just over 1 year old. But anyways, the only defensiveness I've ever had with him is when he arrived. He was hissing. He came from Florida in a box overnight, obviously. So, naturally, I think he was probably a little scared and had every right in the world to be hissy. But, I've handled him pretty much all the time, and he's never hissed at me since. He's had some apprehensiveness with me, like, for instance, if I go to touch him, but we've gotten over that. Like, I was never able to touch his chin. And now he's got no problem with me touching his chin. Another thing I've heard about Argentines is that they can be cage defensive. I don't even use a hook with mine. Now he's, just over 1 year old, and he's, just about a couple feet long. So right now, he may not need a hook or, any special way to get him out. And who knows how that will be a couple of years from now. But right now, he lets me pick him right up. Beautiful animal. I love this guy. I got him from Craig Terry at Indian River Constrictors, and he had purchased him from Tim Vandiver of Midnight Morphs. So, like I said, I've had Artemis now for probably the better part of 6 or 9 months, and he is definitely one of the favorite Locality Boa constrictors in my collection. Super docile. He just likes to hang out. Here's Max. Max is my male Dumeril boa constrictor, and he is actually starting to shed. He's got skin coming up off of his neck. So what I think I might do real quick is just let him soak. But he is definitely one of my favorite boa constrictors. I'm going to go let him soak and let him shed, and then I'll bring out my female Dumerils. Here is my female Dumeril's boa constrictor, who is not in shed, and she shed not too long ago. She was born in 2019, so she's just over 2 years old. I really do like the color scheme, the banding, the striping, the saddle markings of the Dumeril's boa constrictor. One of the things that I have seen now that I've owned a couple of them, and I've seen quite a few of them, is some of them really do get more vibrant color patterns than others. I don't know if you can see Bolana, this is Bolana, her color pattern, but it's very, very orange and pink. And then I've seen some that are more brown, more kind of dull, and actually they look more like the representation if you would see one in the wild, because the brown I think kind of mimics the foliage that you would really find the Dumeril's boa constrictor on, where after years of breeding, the color patterns can be more enhanced, and of course, Bolana is more orange and pink than brown, and that might change as she gets older. But I really love these boa constrictors. Mine have proven to be extremely docile. They're very, very grippy animals. They're not super active. Once they get to a point of where they want to be, they just hang out. And that's my Dumeril's boa constrictor. One of the things, and I don't know if I can show it to you, that I really do love about these animals is under their chin, both of them have markings. And it's almost like they're missing scales. And they have 3 dots. My male has a couple of them, and Bolana, she's got a couple of them too, and they're very, very small. I don't know if it's a characteristic of the Dumeril's boa constrictor, but again, I really like these boas, and they're definitely, I can say this about all my snakes, one of my favorites in my collection. So this guy right here is my pride and joy. This is the boa constrictor that I wanted to make sure that I was ready to take care of. This guy right here was produced by Craig Land. Just an amazing, amazing looking Suriname. I was looking for a Suriname with the high peak saddles, which he has. I wanted a nice, rich, vibrant red tail, which he's got my thumb. He's not going to let me really stretch it out, which he has. That's the best you're going to get. And I was really torn because Guyanas were 250, 300 bucks. Most of the Surinames were going for 700, 750 bucks. And I wanted to know what the difference was, right? Like, why is a Suriname so much more expensive than a Guyana? Most of the Guyanas that were on Morph Market were wild caught. Most of the Surinames were domestically produced. So I didn't know what to do. Somebody messaged me through Facebook and said, hey man, check it out. I've got some Surinames for sale. He sent me some pictures. I bought 2 of them. I bought 2 of them just like that. They were exactly what I was looking for. My friend Leanne, she's got the sister to this. We do have breeding plans for the future for these animals. Her Suriname is just as beautiful as King Darius is. So I'm very fortunate to have been given the opportunity to raise this guy right here. And he is definitely the reason that I believe my boa constrictors get the optimum husbandry as they do. And look, he's going to let me show you his tail. So of course, after owning the Suriname for a while, it made me want to get a Guyana. And I waited till I could find a domestically produced Guyana, which I did find from, where did I get you from? I forget. I'd have to go back on Morph Market and look. But this is Odin. Odin is my male Guyana, and he's in shed right now. One of the things I really truly liked about Odin was, first of all, he was domestically produced. He was not a wild caught. He's got some high peak saddles, not a whole lot of them, but what I really do like about him is he's more grayish in color, where King Darius is more brownish in color. His body has more speckling to it, so he looks a little more dirty. Plus he is in shed right now, so both these animals are very grippy. So once they get a hold of you, they don't really like to let go. Once Odin sheds, I think his tail is a little bit more longer and vibrant than my Suriname. If you can check his eyes out, he is definitely in zombie mode or shed. Definitely one of my favorite locality boa constrictors that I have, and glad to have him. And if I find out who I bought him from, I'll post it in the video. So here is one of my surprise locality boa constrictors that I really didn't know anything about. A friend of mine had bought 2 of them, and I decided to pick up one of them. And this is a Vin Russo produced 2019 Hog Island boa. Really didn't know anything about them. I've done some reading on them. They're a dwarf boa constrictor. They are located off of an island off, I believe, the coast of Nicaragua. I could be wrong. A Hog Island boa will grow to about, the males will grow to about 5 feet long, I believe, 5, maybe 6 feet long. Your females might get a little bit bigger than that. What I really like about these boas is their markings. They're natural hypomelanistic animal, which means that their dark pigment has been removed. Adrestia is very pink, and then as she gets to her tail, she turns very orange. And this is something that has started to take place in the last, say, 6 months of owning her. I've had her for about a year. We got her, I believe, when they were yearlings. And she's definitely a very docile animal. She's very inquisitive. She doesn't, get all wild. This is basically how she reacts with me. And when I got her, she was probably half the size, if not, even smaller than that. And she's really started to grow and put some size on. So, Adrestia, my female Hog Island boa, and definitely one of the most amazing boa constrictors that I have in my collection. So here's another one that I really did not know anything about. A friend of mine had talked about the Tamaulipas cloud forest boa. And if you're like me, I'm on Morph Market at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm looking through the recently added in the boa constrictors, and I see this Tamaulipas cloud forest boa show up on Morph Market, and it was produced by Vin Russo. I immediately purchased it. This boa has not been my best friend. She's never bit me. She's never really struck at me, but she's never been real tolerant to being handled. She's been really flighty. Like, you pick her up and she just wants to go. And if you see how she's acting now, this is way different than when I first got her. She's actually pretty stable right now, where, I think the lighting is probably giving her a little bit of like, hey, I don't want to be under the lights. But she's not trying to get away, which is way different, which I believe has been a result of constant handling with this snake. The more I've handled her, the better she's become. Now, she will become flighty. But one of the things that I really love about this snake is the change in color that's been taking place with her within the last 6 months or so. She is getting a lot of orange in her belly, a lot of iridescence in her skin. She is, oh, there she goes. She is just really starting to blossom with color. And this is a snake that, when I first got her, in the first, say, 6 months of owning her, I would have got rid of her. I would have, I wouldn't have bet $20 on this boa that I would have kept her. And she's really starting to shine. She's still, not like the most tolerant boa that wants to be held. But if you look, she's staying still now. She's kind of hanging out. And I think that's because of the consistent handling that I've done with her. And hopefully with age, it'll get better. Now this boa is a 2019. She will get 4 feet long, no bigger than a ball python. So she's in no way, shape, or form going to be a big snake. She will probably get about twice this size right here, a little bit bigger in girth, and that is it. The most that we'll probably see from her is probably more color pattern come in, and definitely, you know, just a little bit more size. And hopefully her attitude allows me to hold her a little bit more, and she just kind of calms down. I still consider her to be a juvenile, so she still has juvenile tendencies where she, like I said, she's tolerating handling right now. She really is. So I've got one more locality boa constrictor to show you. Let me go get her. This is Freya. And there's a funny story about Freya. She was the snake that I wanted to learn how to tame down. Everybody told me about Nicaraguans. Everybody told me that they were like probably the meanest snake of the boa constrictor species. And I figured, you know what, if I'm going to learn how to tame down an animal, I want to buy a baby Nicaraguan and learn how to tame her down. This isn't her at all. This snake has been extremely docile, grippy. To use the term loving with a snake is kind of strange, but I think she really does enjoy being held. This snake here has really liked it when I rub her chin. She'll actually stop what she's doing, put her chin up, and just let me rub her chin. Her color pattern, since I've got her, has just, I mean, she's gotten dark. She was a very light boa constrictor when I bought her. I don't know if the lighting is helping out, but she has just gotten super dark, which I really, really like about her. Again, she's a dwarf boa constrictor. She's not going to get very big. She'll probably max out somewhere around 6 foot, between 5 and 6 foot. But again, I bought this boa constrictor with the pretense of learning how to tame down a boa constrictor, and she's been one of the easiest boas I've had since I got her. Now, I'm not going to bring her out now because I had her out earlier today, but my IMG Motley is definitely testing my patience with a bitey, striky boa. But anyways, that's my locality collection. Next video I'll do is on my morphs. We'll bring out Anya, my IMG Motley, see how she does. Hey you guys, I appreciate you watching the videos. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time.